Chosen one, God confirmed something about you before this message began. Not your worthiness, not your readiness, not that things would become easier soon. He confirmed this. What you have been seeing, the thing that would not let you rest, the perception that others told you to silence, the knowing you carried in your body like something you had not asked to be given. It was never distortion, it was discernment. And you were right. Now, stay with that for exactly 1 moment, because what God wants to say next is something that almost never gets said after the validation, and the reason it does not get said is because it is uncomfortable. It is this: the people who have suffered the most are not always the ones who were wrong. Some of them were right, confirmed right, divinely appointed right, and still they were undone, not by their enemies, not by their circumstances, but by what carrying their rightness did to their spirit in a season when they did not yet know how to hold it. That is the conversation this message is carrying for you today. God is not here to question what you saw. He settled that already. He is here to tell you what to do with it, before it costs you something you cannot afford to lose. And before we go any further, I want to tell you what is coming, because what this message carries today is not small. By the time we reach the end, you are going to understand why your discernment has been feeling so heavy in this particular season, why being right has not brought you the peace it should have, and you are going to receive a practical framework, something I am calling the 3-question gate, that will change how you handle every truth you carry from this moment forward. You will also understand something about what happens to the frequency of your inner clarity under prolonged pressure, and what directly addresses it. Stay with me until the end. What is waiting there is worth every minute. Everything I am going to share with you in the next 30 minutes is yours, freely, without any obligation. But if at some point, something inside you, not your thoughts, your spirit, reaches for something beyond words, there is more waiting in the description and the pinned comment below. Only go there when you feel the call, not before. Now, let us begin. Let me tell you what you have been carrying. There is a kind of room you know well, a room where the conversation moves easily around everyone else, where people laugh at things that feel distant to you, where the atmosphere says everything is fine and something in you says it is not. You sit there, watching, quiet in a particular way, the kind of quiet that comes from someone who sees beneath the surface of things and has learned to stop announcing it. That is not anxiety. That is not overthinking. That is what it looks like to live with discernment that has not yet been understood. And I want to name some of the things you have been experiencing, because I do not think anyone has named them accurately for you. Here is the first one. You have known things before they were proven, before the evidence appeared, before the timeline confirmed it, before anyone else was willing to say it out loud. Something in you already knew, not loudly, not dramatically. It simply knew, and it held that knowing in a place deeper than thought. You have felt things before they had a name. Someone steps into your space, and without a single word exchanged, something inside you changes. A situation unfolds that everyone around you calls normal, and your body, your chest, your breathing tells you a different story. The feeling comes first, the confirmation comes later, and when it does arrive, it matches exactly what your body told you at the beginning. You have seen what was coming before anyone around you was ready to believe you, not because you were looking for problems, not because you are naturally suspicious, because something was given to you that moves beneath the surface of what is visible, and you have spent a significant portion of your life carrying it without the language for what it is. You have known it before they admitted it. You have felt it before it had a name. You have seen it before anyone was ready to believe you. And every single time, chosen one, you were right. God saw every one of those moments. He saw every room where your perception was received as a problem. Every conversation where being the one who noticed things made you the one who was too much. Every moment where you softened the edges of what you sensed because the full version was not welcome. And there is something specific I want you to understand about what you have been experiencing in your body. When someone speaks something that is not true, when a situation carries a misalignment that no one else is naming, something in you tightens, not always visibly, not always in a way you can point to. But there is a shift, a slight contraction in the chest, a change in your breath, a signal from somewhere inside that says, "This is not aligned. That is not a disorder. That is not oversensitivity. That is your body functioning as a truth detector." And that truth detector has been working accurately for a very long time. But here is the part that does not get talked about enough. Knowing you were right should have brought you peace, but it has not always, has it? And that gap, the space between being right and feeling right, that is where today's message lives. Because being right is one thing, but what being right does to a person over time, when it goes unacknowledged, when it sits under pressure in an environment that refuses to receive it, that is something entirely different. And that is what I want to walk you through now. Let me show you 3 specific things that happen when rightness is carried without the right understanding. The first one is bitterness, not the dramatic kind, the quiet kind. When the vindication does not come at the speed you expected, when the truth you have been holding is still not acknowledged, still not confirmed publicly, still not seen by the people who dismissed you, something begins to change beneath the surface. The rightness does not leave, but it changes texture. It begins to ferment. And what ferments from unvindicated truth, over enough time, under enough pressure, is a quiet edge. An edge that shapes how you see the people who got it wrong, how you carry yourself in rooms where they still operate with confidence, how you listen to conversations where your discernment has not been credited. It does not start as bitterness. It starts as exhaustion, and then it slowly becomes something harder. The second thing is a wall. When you carry accurate discernment for long enough in an environment that consistently dismisses it, when you see what others miss over and over again and no one asks for your perspective, there is a slow shift in how you perceive the people around you. Not because you chose it, not because you are arrogant, but because when you are consistently more accurate than the room you are in, and that accuracy is consistently dismissed, the distance between what you see and what they see can become a kind of invisible barrier. You do not mean to look across it, but it is there, and it makes connection harder than it should be. And the third one is the most dangerous of all. There is a particular destruction that happens when truth is spoken before its appointed time. Not wrong truth, right truth, the same discernment you have been given. When it is released before the moment it was designed for, it does not illuminate, it damages. It closes the very door it was meant to open. It turns the person who was meant to receive it into someone who is now defending themselves against you. And the rightness you carried, the gift you were given, becomes the exact instrument that dismantled the relationship or the opportunity or the assignment it was supposed to protect. I want to tell you about someone I know of. A woman who spent 2 years watching a situation in her workplace unfold in a direction she knew was wrong. She felt the fractures. She named the misalignment, gently, more than once, and was dismissed each time. And then one day, the pressure built past a point she could hold, and she spoke. She said everything she had been seeing, everything she had been carrying, all of it, clearly, accurately, correctly. She was right about every single thing, and she lost the position she had spent 7 years building. Not because she was wrong, because she was right at the wrong moment, in the wrong spirit, without the understanding to know the difference. She said something to me that I have never forgotten. There is no difference between a key used at the right door at the wrong moment and the wrong key entirely. Either way, the door does not open. Now, let me show you something before we go to the place that changes everything. Think about light. Think about walking into a room that has been completely dark for a very long time, and someone turns on every light, at full brightness, all at once. People do not see more clearly. They reach for the switch. They cover their eyes. The very thing that was meant to illuminate the room becomes the thing that drives them away from it. Full brightness in a space that has been dark too long does not open people's eyes. It closes them, and God wants to address that image directly with you today. But before I take you there, I want to be transparent with you about something, because I believe in giving you everything I have. There is a tool I want to share with you today that connects directly to what we are discussing, specifically to what happens to your discernment at a deeper level than just the emotional or the spiritual. It is called the Genius Song. It works with something called gamma activation, which research has linked directly to the clarity and accuracy of intuitive perception. In a few minutes, I will explain the science behind that fully, because it matters for someone carrying what you are carrying. For now, I just want you to know it exists. The information is in the description and the pinned comment below. Only come to it if something in your spirit, not your mind, moves toward it. We will return to this shortly. Now, the word that changes everything. The man who understood this better than almost anyone was a young man named Joseph. He was right about his dreams, right about the future, right about what was coming and who would be there when it arrived. The vision was clear, the discernment was sound, and he carried it in his body like a weight he had not asked to receive. And for being right, he was thrown into a pit by the people he loved most. Not because he was wrong, because he was right, and the people around him could not receive it. He was sold, he was falsely accused, he was imprisoned, and he sat in the dark with the full weight of a divine confirmation he could not yet use, watching time move in a direction he had not chosen. And here is what almost everyone skips when they tell his story. The most critical thing that happened to Joseph did not happen in the pit. It did not happen in the palace. It happened in the space between the dream and the fulfillment, in the years where he was right but not yet vindicated, when he had to learn what to do with his discernment, when the world had not yet caught up with it. Some of you are in that space right now. The confirmation is real. The perception is sound. The truth you are carrying is accurate, and you are still waiting. And what you do with your rightness while you are waiting will determine everything that follows. Full brightness in a room that has been dark too long does not illuminate. It causes people to reach immediately for the switch. And God is saying to you right now, through this message, I hear the Father speaking these words over you. I did not give you this sight to win. I gave it to you to lead. And leaders do not lead with what they know. They lead with when they speak what they know. The dimmer switch is not God holding your light back. It is God protecting the people your light was sent to reach from being overwhelmed before they are ready to receive it. You are not being silenced. You are being calibrated. And in the second part of this message, I am going to show you exactly what that calibration looks like in practice. I am going to give you the ancient word that reframes this entire season, a word that Joseph understood in the pit that most people never learn. I am going to give you the 3-question gate, a practical framework for knowing when your truth is ready to be spoken and when it must be held. And I am going to show you something about the frequency of discernment itself, what happens to it under sustained pressure, and what directly restores it. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back, Chosen One. In the first part of this message, we confirmed something that God has been trying to tell you. Your discernment is real. Your perception has been accurate. And we walked through 3 ways that rightness, when carried without understanding, becomes the very thing that destroys what it was meant to protect. Bitterness from unvindicated truth. The invisible wall that grows between a seer and the people who cannot see what they see. And the specific, costly destruction of releasing truth before its appointed moment. We ended at the image of the dimmer switch. God is not holding your light back from you. He is calibrating it. And now, I need to give you more than an image. I need to give you a word. And then I need to give you the tools. Here is the word. In ancient Greek, there are 2 completely different words for time. The first is chronos. That is, the time you can measure, the kind that moves, whether you pay attention to it or not. Clock time, calendar time, the accumulation of days between when something was promised and when it arrives. Chronos does not wait for meaning, it simply moves. The second word is kairos, and kairos is entirely different from chronos. Kairos is the appointed moment, not just a moment in time, but the moment, the one designated before the sequence of events began, the moment when what was held in preparation is finally released in power. The ancient Greek writers used this word specifically to describe moments of divine intervention, moments when God enters chronos time and changes everything. Kairos is not simply time passing, kairos is God in motion. Joseph spent years in chronos, years in the pit, years in Pharaoh's prison, years holding a divinely confirmed truth that had not yet found its moment. And then, one night, Pharaoh dreamed a dream he could not interpret. That dream was not coincidence. That was kairos arriving. Joseph did not push his way to Pharaoh. He did not force his rightness into the chronos years that preceded it. He held it with discipline. He stewarded it without bitterness until the kairos moment came to him. And when it came, the truth he had been carrying for years was released at full clarity, full precision, full power, and it changed the course of an entire nation. Your rightness is not behind schedule. You are in chronos time right now. But kairos is not late. Kairos is exact. And the question this season is asking you is not whether your truth is real. The question is whether you are learning to carry it in a way that honors the kairos moment that is coming for it. Not vindication, not validation, commissioning. That is the shift God is making in you through this season. You were not confirmed because you deserve to be proven right to the people who dismissed you. You were confirmed because you are being prepared to carry something that will matter to people who are not yet in your life. People who are coming. People who will need what you have been holding, delivered at the right moment, in the right spirit, with the right frequency. And that brings me to the tool I promised you. I want to give you something practical that lives with you from today forward, something that changes how you handle every truth you carry. I am calling it the 3-question gate. Before you release any truth, before you bring forward any discernment you have been holding, pass it through 3 gates. And if any of these gates does not open with peace, you hold. The first gate is this. Is this kairos or chronos? Ask yourself, does this moment carry God's fingerprint, or does it carry only my urgency? There is a real and felt difference between the peace that accompanies a kairos impulse and the pressure that accompanies a chronos one. Kairos feels like clarity, like a window opening. Chronos feels like heat, like something building toward release. Kairos does not feel like an emergency. Chronos does. Learn to feel that distinction in your body, because your body will tell you the truth about which one you are responding to, often before your mind catches up. The second gate. Does this person or situation have the capacity to receive what I am about to bring? Not whether they deserve to hear it, not whether the truth itself is valid. Whether, in this specific moment, the person in front of you is in a place where they can actually receive it. Because truth released into a closed spirit does not open it, it seals it shut. The same truth that transforms a person who is open will harden a person who is defended. A surgeon with the right instrument still looks at the patient before making the incision, not because the instrument is wrong, because timing determines whether it heals or harms. And the third gate. This one is the most important one. Ask yourself, am I speaking for transformation or for vindication? Am I bringing this truth because it will serve the person in front of me, or because I need to be seen as the one who knew? There is a difference, and God can feel the difference even when you cannot. When you speak for transformation, there is a settledness underneath the impulse, a willingness to release the outcome, because the goal is the other person's growth and not your acknowledgement. When you speak for vindication, there is an edge, a need for the specific outcome of being believed. And that edge changes the frequency of what you carry, and it changes how it lands in the receiving spirit. 3 gates. Every time the pressure of a held truth begins to build, pass it through these 3. If all 3 open with peace, speak. If anyone does not, hold. Not forever. Until kairos. And here is the companion practice, something I am calling the kairos discernment. 3 signs that tell you the appointed moment has arrived. The first sign is peace in the impulse. Not excitement, not urgency. Quiet, settled peace. A clarity that feels like a window opening rather than a pressure valve releasing. The same quality of knowing you had when you first received the discernment, now restored at the point of release. The second sign is genuine openness in the other person or situation. Something will shift before you speak. A question they ask, a vulnerability they show, a posture that changes. Watch for it. That is the window kairos creates. It will be visible if you are watching from peace rather than from pressure. The third sign is freedom from outcome. When you are truly speaking from kairos, you are not holding your breath waiting for them to agree. You are not attached to whether they believe you, or thank you, or finally see what you have been seeing. You are simply delivering what was appointed, and you are at peace with whatever follows. That freedom is the signal. That is the framework. 3 questions before speaking. 3 signs of the appointed moment. Use it from today. Now, before I can show you what I want to show you next, and I will show you, there is one more piece of this that most teaching on discernment completely ignores. About what happens inside the brain of someone who has been carrying high pressure, confirmed truth in an environment that has refused to receive it for an extended period of time. About what that sustained pressure does to the very frequency through which discernment operates, and about why some of you, in this season, feel like your perception is accurate, but your clarity is not quite what it once was. This is not a spiritual failure, and there is something that directly addresses it. Here is what decades of peer-reviewed research have documented. The brain operates across a spectrum of frequencies, and the highest of these, the one researchers have most consistently linked to peak clarity, intuitive processing, rapid pattern recognition, and what some in the field describe as the state of genius, is called gamma. Children naturally live in high gamma states. They learn with ease, their instincts fire cleanly, their perception is fast and accurate. They make connections that take adults much longer to arrive at. Then, around age 7, something begins to happen. The structure of modern life, the stress of school environments, the overstimulation of constant noise and pressure begins to suppress the brain's access to gamma. Researchers call this the decline effect. And what it does is not remove the gamma capacity, it covers it. The brain defaults to survival frequencies, lower-level patterns that are excellent for managing threat, but not for receiving or processing subtle truth. The discernment does not disappear, it becomes noisy. The signal is still broadcasting. The receiver has interference. Dr. Robert Lake spent 34 years studying this specific phenomenon. Working alongside researchers at MIT, Princeton, and other leading institutions, he arrived at a conclusion that changes how we understand discernment. The frequency at which intuition fires most accurately, the state in which the 3-question gate is most easily accessed, the state where kairos and chronos feel most distinct from one another, is directly tied to gamma activation. And gamma activation can be restored. Dr. Lake developed a 7-minute audio track that uses precise sound frequencies to guide the brain back into its natural gamma baseline, not through effort, not through years of meditation practice, through the science of brain entrainment, the same principle by which a tuning fork causes another tuning fork in the same room to vibrate at the same pitch. It is called the Genius Song, and I want to be completely honest with you about what it is. It is not a promise. It is not a guarantee that your life will change in 7 minutes. It is a recalibration tool, A daily 7-minute practice through headphones that progressively restores the brain's access to the frequency where your discernment lives most clearly, where the difference between kairos and chronos is most precisely felt, where the three-question gate is most easily used. Someone who had been using this practice for a few weeks reached out to me, a teacher who had spent years carrying accurate discernment in an environment that consistently dismissed her. She described what shifted as finally having space to breathe between what I see and what I say. The urgency quieted, not the knowing, the pressure on the knowing, and in that space, the gates opened more cleanly. The timing became clearer. That gap is exactly where the three-question gate lives. Restoring that gap is what this is designed to do. More than 18,000 people have used it, and the refund rate is under 4%. I want you to sit with that number, not the 18,000, but the 4%. Because in an industry where most products see refund rates 3 to 5 times that, under 4% means that the overwhelming majority of people who received this and tried it chose to keep it. That is not a quantity signal, that is a quality signal. When it comes to what it costs, let me put it in the context of what you have probably already tried. A single session with a therapist, which does not target gamma specifically, runs around $150. A weekend spiritual retreat is $400 to $800, depending on where you go. A meditation app subscription, which again does not address the decline effect directly, is around $15 a month. You forget to cancel. The Genius song is $39. One time, not recurring, and it targets the specific frequency that all of those other options leave untouched. That $39 also includes 4 additional resources at no extra cost. An audio track calibrated for children to support their gamma state before the decline effect takes hold, worth $19 on its own. The original text that inspired the film called The Secret, the actual source material with the real principles underneath the popular version, valued at $20 on Amazon. A 22-minute guided visualization that walks through 4 areas of life: financial, relational, physical, and internal well-being, worth $29. And a 5-habit infographic, the specific daily practices that research shows help sustain gamma activation over time, valued at $12. That is $80 in additional resources, included with the $39 purchase. And if you use it and it does not serve you, you have 90 days to ask for a full refund. What makes this different from a standard guarantee is that you keep everything, all $80 worth of bonuses. Even if you request the refund, Dr. Lake calls it his apology for your time, in the event it did not reach what it was meant to reach. There is no risk in trying. The only cost is continuing to carry your discernment in a noisy frequency when there is something that directly addresses that. One thing I want to make sure you know: the Genius song is only available through the link in the description and the pinned comment below. If you come across something with a similar name anywhere else, at any other price point, it is not the same product. Protect the access point. If your spirit has been moving toward this while we have been talking today, the information is below. Let the feeling settle first. If it is still there after a breath, follow it. Now, before I bring you to the place this message has been moving toward all along, I want to pause here. You have been with this for a long time today. You came into this carrying something, and you have been present through a great deal of it. I want to acknowledge that. Take one breath right now, not for what you know, not for what you are carrying, not for what is coming next, just for you, just because you are here, and something in you chose to stay. You did not have to, but you did. Now, let me bring you to the most important thing this message carries. Your rightness was never meant for the people who dismissed you. Let that settle in your spirit. It was never for them. The discernment you carry, the confirmed knowing, the years of accurate perception that no one gave you credit for, None of it was given to you so that you could prove yourself right to the people who decided you were wrong. It was given to you for the people God is sending toward you, not the ones who are already in your life and chose not to see what you saw. The ones who are coming, people who will arrive in the next season, people not yet in your world, who will find you and recognize immediately that you see what they cannot see for themselves, and who will need exactly what you have been carrying, delivered at exactly the right moment, in the frequency of peace rather than the frequency of pressure. Joseph was not vindicated by his brothers. He was commissioned by Pharaoh. The people who threw him into the pit never fully received what they had rejected. But the people he was sent to serve, the ones who were appointed to receive him, they were given everything he had been holding for years. What felt like abandonment was actually assignment. What felt like silencing was actually seasoning. What felt like being overlooked was actually being set apart. What felt like a very long, very quiet, very pressured season was actually God in motion, positioning everything for a kairos moment that your dismissers could not see coming and will not fully understand even after it arrives. Your truth has not expired. Your discernment has not failed. Your season of holding has not been wasted. It has been the preparation. And I hear the Father saying this over you right now. I did not confirm your discernment so you could carry it as a burden. I confirmed it because I trust you to carry it as a commission. The calibration has been mine. The full release is yours. And the moment I have designated for it is closer than you know. You are not behind. You are being commissioned. And with that, let me tell you who you are. You are the seer. The one who walks into rooms and perceives what is actually moving beneath the surface of what is being performed. That is not a disorder. That is an appointment, and that is not a mistake. You are the keeper of the appointed word, the one who carries confirmed truth with the discipline to hold it until the moment God has designated for its release. That is not weakness. That is a form of wisdom that most people will spend their entire lives never accessing. And that is not a mistake. You are the calibrated light bearer, the one who is learning not simply that they carry light, but when to illuminate and how much the room can receive at a given moment. That is not dimming what you carry. That is mastering how it serves the people it was sent to reach. And that is not a mistake. You are the discerning vessel, anointed to carry truth, commissioned to release it at the appointed time, built for a purpose that extends far beyond your own vindication. And that is not a mistake. These are not things to aspire toward. These are not goals. These are what you already are, right now, in this season, even in the waiting, even in the holding, even on the days it does not feel that way at all. Receive that. Now I want to do something with you. Think for a moment about the specific truth you have been carrying, the knowing that has not yet reached its kairos moment. You do not need to name it out loud. You do not need to analyze it or explain it or do anything with it right now. Just let it be present in your awareness. Feel the weight of it, not as a burden you were left with, as a trust placed in you by the one who assessed what you are capable of holding and decided you were the right person for it. Now, in the interior of your spirit, without moving, without speaking, without performing anything outwardly, simply say this inside yourself: I am not releasing it. I am entrusting it. I am not releasing it. I am entrusting it. And I will speak when you show me the kairos. Not out of pressure, not out of urgency, when you show me. Let that settle. Because that movement, from carrying under pressure to entrusting in peace, from waiting for vindication to accepting commissioning, that is the whole message. Chosen one. You came into this carrying something heavy, a rightness that has not been publicly vindicated, a discernment that has been dismissed, a season of knowing without the relief of being believed by the people who had the most power to validate you. And what God wants to seal into you before this ends is this: you are not behind, you are not broken, you are not wrong, you are not forgotten, you are right. And your rightness is being held in hands far steadier than yours or mine. not because you cannot be trusted with it, but because when it is released, it will land with full clarity, full power, and full impact into the exact moment and the exact people it was always designed for. May your discernment be restored to its full and unobstructed clarity. May the frequency of what you carry become clean and precise and bright. May the people who are coming toward you find you ready, at peace, fully present, and completely undiminished by the years of holding. May your waiting become your preparation, and your preparation become your commissioning. And may you arrive at your kairos moment, not bitter, not depleted, not worn down by the pressure of carrying what no one has yet received, but fully here. Fully yourself. Fully the person God confirmed you were before any of this season began. You are the light. The timing is His. And that is not a limitation. That is love. If this message reached something real in you today, I want to know you were here. Type the word kairos in the comments below. It is a declaration. It means, I am in the season of holding. I know what I carry. And I trust the appointed moment. If something in this message moved you, honoring it with a like means this message finds the next chosen one who needs it. And if there is someone you know who is burning on the inside right now, someone who has been right about something and cannot get anyone to receive it, someone who is exhausted from carrying truth in a season of dismissal, please send this to them. You may not know exactly why, but I believe you already know who. Stay, if you feel called to. There is more here for you.